Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. I am bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And today you get to meet one of my favorite working women. We got Christina Rice in the building. Hey,
Hi. Boo. Thank you for having me.
This is a long time coming.
Yes.
Girl, please. This is my second podcast. You're supposed to be around for the first one, okay? So yes. I am excited that we were finally able to get you in the studio.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you nervous? Don't be nervous. I got to tell the people, I have to warn all of my guests because I don't give like pre-written questions. Everybody comes in like, well, what are we talking about? They're all nervous. And I'm like, I'm not Wendy Williams. Don't worry. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm not going to embarrass you, but we are going to get in your business. Are you ready for that?
I think
a little bit. We're going to get in it a little bit. But I do want to start with the business because so many people who are familiar with you and your work, they do know you from the business. So I want to start by putting a little respect on your name because you've been in these entrepreneurial streets doing the damn thing for quite some time. So we got to talk about that. But the fact that you are a Tennessee State alumni, can we start there?
Wait, are you?
Yes.
How did I know this?
So yes, we have a fellow Tennessee State Tiger in the building. We are so few and far between in Atlanta, in my opinion, that anytime I have the honor of having a Tiger in the building, we got to start there.
Of course.
Because so much love for HBCUs. You know, I have me and my husband got a little rivalry because he went to FAM. But Atlanta is like FAMU all grown up.
Yes.
Right? It's like FAMU City. And I don't hardly ever get to meet other Tigers. So I'm excited to have you here to represent for the Tennessee State University. Big Blue is in the building. Have you been back to homecoming recently?
No, it's been a long time.
Long ass time.
Since I graduated.
Shut up. You haven't been since you graduated?
Probably 2 or 3 years after I graduated, which is bad. But my business now, we always have something in October, and it just so happens to be the weekend of homecoming since I moved here in 2018. So coming up on 5 years. So even like this October, I'm gone most of October, Ghana, Jamaica, and then Jamaica again. So
October's tricky. October's tricky for some reason. I don't feel bad. I went last year, but before last year, I hadn't been in probably 10 years. Like it had been a really long time. And then I went pregnant. Why did I do that? Girl, my husband surprised me for my birthday. It was like, oh, this is so nice, but
it's cute.
But homecoming pregnant, do not recommend. Very ghetto, 1 star. Okay, so you mentioned you're traveling all around the world, doing all of the things. So let's jump into Om Noir. Did I say it right?
You said it right.
Do people say it wrong?
Yes.
Okay, because I thought I said it wrong. So you saw I was surprised.
Rare that they say it right.
Because black girls are just getting into this Om, right?
True.
We're just stepping into. So what is Om, first of all, and then tell us about the business.
So Om is a chant in meditation. So it's a way to center and ground yourself, but also your offerings to the universe, right? And so when I thought about the name of my company and what we represent, which was Om, which is peace, and Namaste, and the light in you I see in me, and then Noir, which is black. So I was like, Om Noir. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does make sense. I love that you are a black woman in wellness, because so many of us come to these practices through like trauma. Like we done been through some shit. We like, yo, I'm about to go take a yoga class. I'm gonna learn how to meditate. I got to figure something out. And so a lot of us have our own pathways and our own journeys to kind of getting into the wellness or mindfulness space. How did you end up there?
From trauma.
I figured.
I mean,
especially to start a business in it.
Right. So it all started in 2015. So my background, a few things. One, I've been an entrepreneur my entire adult life. So from the moment I graduated from TSU, I opened up my first business.
You never worked for anybody?
It was like when I was transitioning.
Gotcha.
From one business in Nashville to a new life in New York, and just kind of figuring out what my next steps were. And so I did work at different agencies for about 4 years.
Okay.
And then I went back into entrepreneurship. So I started, my first business was a high-end luxury women's and men's boutique right across the street from Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And
What was it called?
It was called Foxy Couture.
Girl, I think I didn't been. What year was this?
Gosh, it was like, am I telling my age here? Nah, it was 2001 to 2006.
I was at TSU from 2003 to 2007. I'm pretty sure I've been in there.
You probably
Girl, shut up.
have come into that store.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so then I transitioned, or I just got burned out, right? And I was ready to leave Nashville. And so it was like, okay, well, what's next? So I sold my store actually to a Tennessee Titans wife.
Okay.
And like, so all the inventory, all of our systems, all of that stuff. And I packed up
wow.
and left.
Gotcha.
And then once I landed in New York, it was like, okay, what's next? And then one of my girlfriends who worked in music, and I was kind of helping her out, one day she was like, you'd be a great publicist. And I had no idea what a publicist did or anything, or even how to get into the business. And so, just doing what I always do, figure it out. I started applying at different agencies, but also like clothing stores. And I got hired, and this is going to be my long story how I came to
Okay.
Om Noir. But I started at a clothing store, a high-end like French clothing store. Then I moved into entertainment and celebrity and event
Doing
production.
PR for the clothing store? Okay.
Yeah, and then I moved to an agency, and I started working with different celebrities like Ice Cube and Snoop and Lil' Kim, and then I went back into fashion, and then in 2010, there was a recession, right? So we're kind of back here now. And I got let go from my last company, and at that point, I was like, I'm not going back into corporate. I'm not working for anyone else.
Was it because you didn't want anybody to be in control of you in that way, or you were burnt out? Like, what was the reasoning? Like, I'm not even going to try to get another job.
I think for me, I've kind of always moved to my own beat, right? And like, and once I get something in my mind, I just go for it. And so for me, it was like, let's just start our own agency. And also, I come from a family of entrepreneurs, from my
Gotcha.
grandparents to my uncle, who was a McDonald's operator, and at one point had 16 stores. And so I feel like it's always been in my blood. And so once I started my agency, it was, of course, like, entrepreneurship, you're working 24/7, you eat what you kill. And so in 2015, I got burnt out, though, again, right? And also going through a bad breakup, and just...
Ooh, that'll do it.
Yep, that'll do it. And I was just like, what's next? For years, though, probably about 3 years before that, I knew PR was not my end game, and I was like, what's next for me? And so when I hit that wall in 2015, it was, okay, I got to find something to get me out of this headspace.
Okay.
And I started taking yoga and fell in love with the practice. And this was, again, 2015. By the summer, the studio I was going to announced they were hosting their next yoga teacher certification. And I didn't sign up immediately, but it kind of stayed with me. And it wasn't that I wanted to teach. I just wanted to get deeper in my practice. Like, I was healing through this practice. And then I signed up because I was just like, go for it. It's something that you need. Make that investment. It was a $3,000 investment. And I started taking yoga, or I started my certification the fall of 2016. I graduated in December. And then, fall of 2015, graduated in December, and then 2016 is when the idea of Om Noir came to me.
Gotcha. So did it start out as yoga?
Yes.
Or like, what was the step one Om Noir? Like, what did it start as?
I started taking yoga.
But for other people, monetization wise, like how did it become a business?
Oh, okay. So when I came up with the idea of Om Noir in like the spring of 2016, it was just an Instagram page to highlight other Black women and women of color in wellness. And that idea came to me because as a student, then a yoga teacher trainee, then as a teacher, like I would teach on my lunch breaks. I would go to my office, you know, I work in the morning and then I go to the studio and teach for an hour and then I come back to my office. Or early in the morning, teach and then go to the office and get into my PR world. But throughout that entire journey, it was I was always the only or one of few, either in class or my students or as in my training, it was 53 of us. I was the only Black woman. And so I was like,
and this is in New York.
This isn't
in
New York.
In like
Right.
someplace where there are no Black women.
Right. And so, but also, you know, because, you know, people knew me through PR and I would talk about my yoga journey on social media, more and more Black women would show up to my classes. And even at the end of class, they would just come up and say, thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for holding space for me. Thank you for acknowledging me in class. And that was the light bulb moment, that Black women desire to be led through their wellness journey by another Black woman.
Yes, we do. We want to be led through everything by another Black woman. Someone who sees us, someone who gets it, someone who doesn't require explanation for the small, new, you know, like we need to be seen. And a lot of times the seeing comes from other women, other Black women.
Exactly. But I think if we even expand our perspective, it's something truly special when you find your people, right? And your people can be based on the stage you are in life. Like if you are the first of your friends to become a mother, right? When you find other mothers, when you find your people and you feel seen, when you're like, these kids getting on my nerves, and they're like, girl,
mine
I know,
too. Yep.
right? Those are people. You know, if you go through a divorce and you know, are in a group of other people who've gone through that difficult transition, a widow, LGBTQ plus, like when you find your people, is something truly special about that. And I think one of the things when I even launched Om Noir, and we were very specific, this platform is for Black women and women of color. Of course, we would get pushback from others, right? And I'm like, and somewhere you found your people, whether it's good or bad, like through your life experiences, you have to have people that see you and who can embrace you and who understand your journey or the challenges or trauma or whatever that you're dealing with. And so for me, it was like creating a space for other Black women to find their people.
To find their people. And you, listen, not only can they find their people, they're finding resources, they're finding wellness, they are finding themselves through finding their people. Side note on yoga, though.
Yes.
I really hate yoga, Christina. I hate, and you're not the first. So I know, you know Nicole. I know Nicole has went through something very similar with getting her yoga. You know, I've seen this so many times, and every time I see one of y'all, I'm like, what is wrong with me? I cannot stand yoga. What am I doing wrong?
It's okay. It's nothing wrong with you. It's what it is. It's mindset.
Okay.
I think that yoga, you know, most people don't realize how difficult it is.
It is difficult. I realize that part.
Both emotionally and physically, right? And I think what we do in most situations in life is that the moment we hit discomfort, we turn back, right? And yoga is constantly putting you in discomfort, both emotionally and physically. And so when you can get to the other side of it, though, it starts to unlock something within you. I know how to be still. I know how to breathe through difficult moments, seeing your body transform, like when you couldn't touch your toes and now you can, when you couldn't do that back bend and eventually one day you go into a back bend and you just do it. Like that unlocks something so special in you. But I know a lot of people, and I've been there, you just hit a wall of that discomfort and it's like, I hate it.
I'm never
But
doing this again.
imagine if you just keep pushing yourself over that edge. And that other side of it is such a beautiful experience because it teaches you so much.
How long does it take to get to that other side?
It takes.
I mean, seriously, because I've tried it in person. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just not good, like online. I gotta go in person. But then I'm like, I can't keep up. Then I get frustrated because I'm the only one in the class that can't keep up, that's struggling, and I'm like, I'm never coming here again.
And I think that's too why it's much better now, of course. But back in 2014, 15 for Black women going into a yoga class felt very intimidating and isolating because you're in a room of size 2 white women who can bend over backwards, who can stand on their heads, and not realizing too that they also started somewhere, right? They started in the same place, and now you're seeing their transition, but it can be very intimidating as the only Black woman, as you're thicker, and you're not as flexible. But again, it's like getting past that discomfort because everybody starts somewhere.
What are some of the biggest benefits to yoga that you've personally seen? Because when you literally said like it was changing your life, like what was that?
Well, first of all, physically, I was in the best shape of my life. I wish I could show you photos of like just the muscle tone and just the shape of my body, right? Just from taking yoga. So that's a benefit, of course. I mean, stretching, you know what I mean? Like that, to me, just being able to provide space in your body physically will help you in so many ways, from sleep to just movement, from recovering from injuries, all of that. But then just emotionally and physically, I think it teaches you so many life experiences in that 60-minute class, and that is breathing through difficulty. That's learning how to be still. Being still is an Olympic sport. Let's be clear. It is so difficult to quiet your mind, to sit still. And when you can accomplish that, any situation that you're faced with, the first thing you're gonna go to is, let me breathe through this really quickly before I react. And I think yoga definitely teaches you how to slow down, assess, and then move in a way that feels the most comfortable for you physically and emotionally and mentally.
So it's funny that you mentioned the stretching part, because I actually saw a doctor once who said stretching is more important than exercising. And
Absolutely.
I felt like they ain't teaching us this in school. Nobody I had never even heard of this concept before. And I'm like, well, how much healthier could we be if we knew that it's the stretching? And I mean, obviously I didn't listen because I still didn't go and do a yoga class, but it's important.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try.
And you know what else? And I'm going to go even a little deeper than that is, I remember in my training, we had these special guest meditation teachers, a couple, so a man and a woman. And I'll never forget that the wife, she said, as women, especially Black women, we carry so much trauma in our hips, right? And so, and also in here.
Your womb.
And in our womb. And so if we don't make it a practice, if we're not intentional about releasing that trauma, what it does is it turns toxic. And so that's where we see a lot of health problems, from fibroids to fertility issues to gastric issues, all of that. And so I'm always reminded for myself, because I don't practice as much as I used to. And the struggle we all have is finding the time, right? From running a business to life and like you want to exercise, you want to stretch, you want to do yoga. I do Pilates. So it's like fitting all of those things in. But I'm really conscious. One thing I do almost every night is I do hip opener exercises. And I can feel instant relief from my day. But also it's a way that I ease into my sleep, is to open up my hips.
Can I just
and
Google
release.
that? Can you show me after the show or something? Okay, do a little demo.
I do it in bed, actually.
Okay. We're not gonna make you do it on camera, but
Okay,
show me after the show. Show me
Right,
after.
right,
Okay,
right.
go
I
home
might
and
not
open
have
these
on
hips.
the outfit for that.
Does it help you with your tone of voice? You see what I'm trying to do here?
Yes.
I'm trying to pick up what you're putting down.
Well,
Does yoga,
no, we talked
yoga help
about
me with this?
this.
We did, but will yoga help? Because I
don't know
struggle,
if
girl.
yoga-
I get excited and it's over.
I don't know if it's yoga. I think that's mindset.
That's-
I think
okay.
that's what, we all are either in or we are striving to be in, is that soft girl season.
Yes.
That season of ease and peace and just finding like our breath and our stillness. And so and I actually have to catch myself, right? Because my voice can carry loud, and it's also a little deeper. And so when I'm really intentional and conscious of it, I soften and I slow down, right? My words, and I'm like really, really just intentional about just being present within my body. And so, see, even you softening your voice made me soften mine.
I think it was already soft. I just tried to catch up. Girl, I feel so weird. Even my husband would be like, "Girl, what are you doing?
Right?
Stop doing that." Did it feel weird when you first started?
Yes, because it's like I just, I get excited and passionate, right? And so sometimes when I hear my voice when I'm trying to be softer, I'm like, it doesn't even sound like me, but it can be me if I continue to practice it.
Yes,
and I do want to.
You're doing it.
Oh, thank you.
You are doing okay. So Christina and I, Christina was a guest for the Soft Season Summit that I hosted a little while ago, and one of the things that we talked about, which is where this came from, was what soft looked like for you. And you mentioned, you've been working on your tone and just slowing down and being present. And another thing that you mentioned that I wanted to bring back around was your 7 days of passion, right?
Pleasure.
Damn, I wrote, girl, I can't get it right. 7 days of pleasure. And I thought it was such a fascinating concept. And so I want you to share it with the people. So 7 days of pleasure, what is it all about?
So even just like, let's backtrack a little bit. So I remember during the summit, I talked about like the divine feminine and masculine, right? And how I used to like roll my eyes, right? And mainly because a lot of those feminine coaches, it was about how to get a man, right? Which is performative, right? Because if it's not naturally you, if the softness is not naturally you, and you're only doing it for a result, and an outcome, then it won't last, right? And it's not organic, right? That old behavior of yours will start to seep through, right? It's gonna come back. And so, but as I started to research it and learn more about it, tapping more into my feminine was more about for me, right? And not like I know how to be a lady, but there's a difference in tapping into your feminine energy.
Ooh, what's the difference?
Right? Wait. So, or let's say this: most of us know how to look like ladies.
Got you. Okay.
But tapping into our feminine energy is much different, right? Again, it is, it's being softer. It's leaning into the things that allow us to feel softer, right? And so, as I was like, okay, this is a project for me, right? I'm the project of how to really lean into my feminine energy. I was like, the first thing is what brings me pleasure, right? And not just sexual pleasure, but emotional pleasure and physical pleasure and things like that. And so I came up with this 7 days of pleasure challenge for myself. And so every day was being intentional about doing something that brought me pleasure. And that was, I did daily bubble baths. I got dressed every day. I work from home, right? So I got really dressed.
That's a big one.
Yes. I mean, you talking about the lashes,
dress.
Face. Yeah.
Oh, your face was dressed too.
Yes, the hair, the outfit. I'm talking about spraying fragrance and just sitting in my house.
That's part of it, though. The intentionality behind it,
right?
Acting as though you already
are. Shoulders, and so I was. I purchased tops that had the one shoulder out or both shoulders out and stuff like that. And so, what was some of the other things?
The bubble baths.
It was the bubble baths. It was getting dressed every day. It was before I started work. It was putting on soft music, lighting candles throughout my house. Let me see. Oh, every night before bed, like spraying, linen spray, things like that. And so I just made a list, and I loved it because I could tell the difference, like when I had team meetings, when I was on Zoom meetings, whether it was business or whatever, and everything just came a lot. It just felt easy.
Synchronicity of it all.
I wasn't rushing from meeting to meeting. I wasn't I wasn't getting overwhelmed with the work. It was just like, breathe through it. It's fine. There's no
back to
emergencies
that yoga,
here.
huh? Breathe
Yeah.
through it.
Yes. Yeah.
How does your femininity play a role being the leader of a company?
Oh, that's such a good question because in my, me project, I also research feminine leadership and what that looks like. And what I noticed is one, I'm an alpha, I'm type A, I'm a Virgo, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Baby, it's a lot.
That is a lot.
That comes out when I am leading a team. And so I had to like examine how could I lead from my feminine energy, still firm, because right, we're not being a pushover or anything like that, but to more inspire my team versus intimidating my team. And one thing I noticed, because last year was just like, it was just a tough year because it was just so much that we were doing, right? So it was like, here's a to-do list and the deadlines and get it done kind of thing. Through that kind of energy I was giving them, they were giving it back to me in a different way.
In what way? What did it look like coming back?
The team felt just very fragmented. And they were also like all of us, like balancing so many things in life and then come to work, and that's not your soft place to land either, right? And so they just, it just felt like they weren't able to rise up to the occasion through that type of leadership from that masculine side, like black and white, do this, do that, and that's it. And so how I shifted was every meeting, how is everyone doing? Sometimes we would just be in each other's presence for a few minutes and breathing, right? And it felt like when I started doing that, instead of them showing up like brace for impact, the shoulder softens. They open up more. How can I support you? What do you need that you can actually show up as your best self to this work? And then I was honest with them. I was like, we're a wellness company. How are we all stressed out? You know what I mean? And so I had to shift my leadership and come from a place of wellness for them. And it shifted so much for them and how they showed up.
The self-awareness in that, to even recognize what you were putting out so that you could see like the result or how it was being received and then what you were receiving in return. I think that we do not talk enough about the leadership required in entrepreneurship, unless you're a solopreneur.
Right.
Because, baby, when I tell you me trying to become a leader that I was not ready to become almost put me out of business. How did you learn leadership?
Well, number one, trial and error, but also, like you said, self-awareness, right? And that's being aware of how you feel in your body when you show up to work.
What do you mean when you keep saying how you feel in your body?
Well, there's a difference in you showing up after, say, a slow morning, right? You wake up, you take your time, you do some stretching, you listen to some music, and then it's like, okay, now I'm ready for work. Versus you jump out of bed, you get dressed, and then you show up, and it's like hard hitting all day, right? And so you can feel that from here to down here and in here. And if you are aware of those differences in your body, then you start to be more intentional about first starting in your body before you get to work versus getting to work and then being in your body.
Is that,
right?
Is that back to yoga?
Nope.
No? Okay.
It could be back to anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It could be, and here's the thing too. I think one of the reasons why so many Black women are attracted to our platform is that we don't define wellness for you, right? This is a safe space for you to define wellness on your own terms and what feels good for you. Wellness for One woman could be starting her day with yoga and meditation and stretching, right? Another could be journaling. Another could be breath work or walking outside to be in nature. And so you have to, in general, and all of us really is like, be very intentional. What feels good for me? What feels well for me? Do I start my mornings reading a book? Do I start my mornings journaling or whatever it is? And so it goes back to what you define.
Gotcha.
Is what feels good. And also, like, what works for me may not work for you. Everybody, to be well, don't have to do yoga. They don't have to practice meditation. And listen, people might like put me on a stake for this, but therapy also is not for everyone. You have to, here's your assignment. Try everything and see how it lands. I have tried therapy. It didn't land for me as much as energy healing does. Like the work I do with my Reiki master, which is depending on what I need from her.
I went to see her, right?
No,
She's
didn't.
bomb. Girl, yes.
No,
Me and my
didn't.
husband. Yes.
Together?
Not together.
Oh, okay.
I
was
sent
curious.
him. I went and then I sent him. I'm like, you gotta go see this.
So I was curious because I had a friend who reached out with her sister and her and her partner were having issues. And she was like, they need individual therapy and they need couples therapy. And I was like, I don't have a recommendation for a therapist, but I do have my Reiki master. And I was curious if she did energy healing
together
for couples
I don't
together.
know.
You need to ask her.
I will.
I think that it would be so powerful if she did. Almost like a couples massage, like being worked on, like,
and then
from your
like
energy
grounding
together.
both. Yeah.
And hearing what is coming up for each other. I've gone to her. I'll never forget. Oh my God, I was hitting burnout again, and I went to her because I'll tell you the last time, which was a couple weeks ago, but the first time I went at a point where I was like, I'm hitting a wall, and she was like, I see a little octopus on your brain, and people are like pulling information out of your brain. She said, that's why you're hitting a wall, because there's not enough left for you. And she was like, that doesn't feel good. And I cannot get that image of a baby octopus on my brain. And every time I start to feel people pulling from me, I'm like, no, right? But I also went to her. So imagine like your partner, your husband hears that. Like here's like either there's some trauma like in your right hip, and it's because you don't have enough time for yourself because you're constantly pouring into everyone else. Imagine if your partner heard that.
Little hint.
Right.
Leave your girl alone sometimes.
So I go back to say, like, you need to ask her about that. But going back to, like, self-awareness in your body, a couple weeks ago I went to her. I mean, I felt like my head was in a vice grip. My shoulders were so tense. I mean, my entire body just felt like I was constantly like this. When I walked out of that session, everything felt lighter. And that's what I mean about the being in your body. She was able to pull out that energy that was causing me to feel constricted, you know? But also there's other sessions I'll have with her that is more life coaching, soul coaching, where it's a combination of talk therapy and energy healing. That works for me. Sitting on a couch and expressing myself doesn't. It doesn't feel the same type of relief for me that Reiki does. Going back to my point, defining wellness on your own terms, what works for you. Therapy is so essential for a lot of people, but it may not be for all people. Reiki works for me, it may not work for you.
You might think we crazy over here, but we know what we know.
Exactly. Yoga might work for me, it may not work for you. Find a thing that works for you that is that space you give to yourself to pour into yourself, right? When I'm not like in my yoga phase, I'm in my Pilates phase.
Now wait a minute, because if I thought yoga was hard, Pilates is like, this is hard and it hurts you.
And it hurts.
So you're just like challenging yourself, basically.
Yoga hurts too. If you ever...
Not as bad as Pilates, though. Pilates, you be holding them. Oh my God, the
I'ma
thought
tell
of
you,
it.
both of them, I would say, teach you the places in your body that you really need to work on. You feel it in places that you didn't even know
I didn't know that was
existed.
there. Yeah, I didn't know I had one of them. Wow.
Yes. And then other times, like I'm in my Peloton phase, like my treadmill, my
Girl, that
bike.
too. Do your legs be hurting? I've never. Okay, y'all. Working out is not my thing. I think that y'all have. I think that y'all have gotten that. I've never done the what's it called, cycling, because I just thought that this was gonna be like raw. Is it?
No, it's not.
I made that up.
You made that
Damn.
one up.
Okay.
It hurts when you first start. It definitely
Your butt
definitely
hurts?
feel it.
Or what
All
hurts?
of it.
Everything
like inner
hurts.
thighs, your butt, all of that. Yes, it hurts. But
Getting
as
to the
with
other
anything,
side.
get to the other side of it.
Girl, I be quitting the moment I feel that pain. Oh, no, this ain't for me. Let me try something else. Okay, wow. All right, my breakthrough might be on the other side, so I'll update you after I try this beginner's yoga. Is this what y'all do on these retreats? So tell them about the retreat. So Om Noir started as a content page celebrating, highlighting women of color in the wellness space.
Yes.
All right, because we didn't went all the way around, but let's come back.
did.
But now Om Noir is so much more than that. So tell us about what you're doing now.
Okay, Om Noir. We are a global wellness platform dedicated to Black women and women of color who are intentional about living well from the inside out. What does that look like? To us, it is 360 degrees of wellness. It is the foods we eat, our love relationships, our friendships, our emotional health, our mental health, our financial wellness, all of that. And so through several of our brand extensions, like we honor that mission to help women again define wellness on their own terms, but also to be intentional about 360 degrees of wellness. Like you know, and most of us know, relationship drama affects other things.
Everything.
Right? If we're not financially well, that affects everything, right? And so what most people know us for are the wellness retreats that we host around the world. And when I hosted my first retreat in 2017, which was my second largest to date, that was the light bulb moment for me again. I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm always going to
You always going to have
see
them light
the
bulbs, baby,
opportunity.
pointing to the next business move. Yes, ma'am.
I'm always going to see the opportunity, but when I hosted my first retreat, it was, again, just something I was doing, right? I have, from my PR days, I have of an event production background. I used to produce events at Super Bowl and Grammys and New York Fashion Week, so I know how to produce an event, and I know how to manage large groups of people. And so my first retreat was really like something I always wanted to do. And someone else, come to me and was like, have you ever thought about doing a wellness retreat? And I said, yes. But I was like, I don't know where to start. And I was like, girl, you know where to start because you've been doing this for the last 10 years.
Was that
right?
your Girl Stop Playin moment?
Yes.
Sounds like it.
It was. And then I think it was maybe like a 6-month lead time of marketing between when we announced the retreat and the actual retreat dates. And we had 53 Black women from the U.S., from Canada, from Nigeria, from the UK at this retreat. And post-retreat, it was beautiful. But post-retreat, everyone was like, okay, well, what's next? And I had no plan.
Where was it? Where was the first retreat?
It was in Grenada.
Got you. Okay.
And so my connection to Grenada is it was my first solo trip in 2015, right before I started my yoga teacher training. I just wanted to go somewhere, right? And Grenada had always been a bucket list for me. And also is where I learned to scuba dive. So it was, for me, like this kind of, I don't know, this like path forward into, like you said, I like to challenge myself. But also it was just kind of like this space where I rooted myself to know I could do difficult things. And I started diving to get over my fears of open bodies of water. And so Grenada was special to me. And so when I went back in 2017 for our first retreat, that's when I also got my certification. So I arrived like 5 days before, and I went through, my tests. We had to do pool, then we had to do open water, like go into the ocean, and then I hosted my first retreat.
Wow.
But it's so funny too because I actually took in water on one of my dives, and I got so sick. I was sick on my retreat. Like it started gradually get worse, and by the second to last day, I had full blown flu. Yes.
So what is that? Taking in water is like, is scuba diving the one with the which one
the
is scuba diving?
regulator.
What's this one? Snorkeling.
That's snorkeling.
That's for kids. That's play, right? That's just play. You just playing around. But scuba diving, that's serious.
I mean, the only way you breathe is with the tank.
So how did you take in water? How did that happen?
Because I actually, when I started to go down, I panicked. And I shot up and I took the regulator out. Okay. And then I just took in a lot of water.
Damn. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's bacteria and all that
stuff.
That's
what I'm like, yeah.
I got sick. So anyways, after the retreat, everyone was like, what's next? And I was like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And that's when I actually, got my LLC, and I opened up like the bank account under that LLC. Before it was like a sole proprietorship. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of 2017. And then 2018, I was like, I'm doing 3 retreats. And they were in Barbados in May, Poconos in June, and Bali in October. All 3 of them sold out. Mm. And by that spring, though, I was like, I'm done with PR. I'm leaving New York. I'm going to move to Atlanta and focus on Om Noir full time, because I was like, this is a business. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So on these retreats, mm-hmm. in my mind, if I close my eyes and envision what is an Om Noir retreat, are y'all like wearing white and singing songs and holding hands?
No.
No, not that. That's not the vibe. What's the vibe?
The vibe is really rooted in sisterhood, community, connection, and travel, mm-hmm. with a focus on challenging you on defining what wellness means for you.
Got you.
And also how to be still, how to unplug and reset. And so every retreat is different. Mm-hmm. And it's really based on the destination and the specific theme of that retreat. So gotcha. Bali is going to be different than Barbados. Arizona is going to be different than Portugal. And so up until 2021, well, 2020 doesn't count, but up until 2021, I was the host of the retreats until I launched my academy, mm-hmm. to coach other women how to host retreats the Om Noir way, and also come underneath our umbrella. And so now we have
this girl bad, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
Now we have a team of retreat facilitators, and all the retreats are different. I always tell my retreat leaders, curate the retreat that speaks to you the most, right? Because that's where it will come from, a very authentic place. But also, I love that they're so diverse, right? We just wrapped up a retreat in Paris for Black women book lovers, right? And it was called Well Read and Well Traveled. We have another retreat leader who is a wine expert. So her retreats are wine and wellness. And she's hosted 2 retreats in Sonoma, one in Arizona, and she has one coming up in Cape Town. And we, we had, I'm trying to think of some other themes. We have had retreats all over so far, Bali, Barbados, Portugal, South Africa, Belize, and we've had like 30 plus retreats, so I'm trying to remember all of them. But
is there something like a commonality amongst, like, this is the Om Noir like signature thing?
Luxury wellness.
Got you. Okay.
And so what that means again is, how do you define luxury, right? Luxury to me is not always 5-star everything, right? Because again, that's also subjective. Mm-hmm. 5-star for me, based on like the experience I want to be, is like maybe a treehouse in Belize, and and I'm in the middle of nature in the rainforest, that could feel 5-star to me. Or it could be the Four Seasons, right? But luxury wellness is, for us, and how we define it, again, is like, is making sure that how you pour into yourself feels like luxury. And is that investing in yourself for a first class ticket? Is that investing in yourself for a course that will give you, a new skill set or a certification that you can apply to your business, right? Is luxury a yoga class? You know what I mean? And it's like, how do you define that, right? But it's also like us giving these very intentional 5-star experiences for our attendees that speaks to where they are, right? So it's like meeting them where they are, but also taking them where we're going.
Got you. I love it. And I just think that genius, the business model behind it all. I mean,
Thank you,
girl. It's not franchising, but it's almost like a version of that. I love it.
It actually is kind of franchising. So the way I kind of explain it to everyone, and it's like a light bulb moment, is we're the Airbnb of luxury retreats for Black women and women of color. You can go on our website and choose the retreat that speaks to you. So it could be the destination, the dates, the theme, the retreat leader. It could be one of those factors. It could be all of those factors. And so all of our retreats are different. So for someone who goes on our website, it's like, yes, I would love to be with my people, other Black women who love books and in Paris. You know what I mean? Or I need some really deep spiritual transformation, so I'm going to go to Essie's retreat in Belize because she's a sound bowl healer, right? And so that's going to be that deep spiritual work. Or Bali, I need to be in a space that is centered around spirituality, right, and transformation. So it really depends. Or wine to me is wellness. A glass of wine or wine tastings with my people.
And you got something for
in
everybody.
South Africa, we have something for everyone. We have co-ed retreats as well. We have another retreat coming up called the Girlfriend Experience. And I will tell you, naively, I was so surprised when a couple of times I've done like polls on my IG stories, especially because I get comments, when I post moments with my friends, and I will get DMs like, I wish I had friends like this. I wish I had, a sisterhood or whatever. And I did a poll a few times, like, do you have a tribe? What has prevented you from building friendships in adulthood? And it's across the spectrum. It's trauma from their mothers that taught them not to trust other Black women. Of course, being amongst, other women who have lied or cheated or whatever, things like that, like trauma from other friendships, never learning how to build friendships with other Black women. And so, like, going back to the Girlfriend Experience Retreat, that is centered around helping women build friendships in adulthood. And this particular retreat leader, she has like a friendship expert and coach that is coming that will, give exercises and help you kind of unlock some of those barriers to building friendships with other Black women. So, like, again, every retreat is different. We have another one, the Sensual Black Girl Retreat, that's all centered around pleasure and sensuality. So they're all different.
It's like the synchronicity in this conversation is just crazy because you can't read my handwriting. It's really messy. But can you tell what that says right here?
Adult friendships.
I had no clue that you have a friendship retreat. I mean, I had no clue, but I know that you have friendships. And I know that this is even for myself, like I have one really, really good friend that I've developed in adulthood. One.
Just one.
Just one. And so this has been and I don't know it's my mama. Okay, we're going to start. I know it's my mama, okay? Hey, mama, it's you. I know that to be the case for me. But I do think, like you said, it's a common thing. It's not just me. This is like a thing. And
It's a thing.
why I wrote that down to talk to you about it was I wanted to find out from you what your advice would be for those people, aside from coming to the retreat, for the people who do look up or they look online and they see all the girlfriends hanging out and they're like, man, this shows me what I'm lacking.
Yes.
Where do you start with adult friendships?
Well, I think you start with healing your trauma, right? Being self-aware. Where do I struggle the most in maintaining friendships? Is it trust of them or is it trust of myself?
Girl,
Right?
it's my mama. What do that mean?
Right. Is it my
Trust
mama?
of my mama.
Right.
Okay.
Trust of my mama. Is it any number of factors? Like you have to be like, where have I hold a mirror up to myself where I have either sabotaged friendships or I've had difficulty establishing friendships, right? Because it first starts with you, that self-awareness, right? The other thing is being really intentional about being in spaces where you can connect with other women. Friendships and deep, authentic friendships don't happen overnight. You have to be really intentional about pouring into people so that they can pour into you as well, right? But also knowing that with anything, it's a possibility we can get hurt from a friend, right? We may have really wanted to develop a friendship with someone and it didn't connect like we wanted to. Or we found out that person wasn't the one we wanted to be friends with. Don't allow that to stop you.
Girl, it be stopping me. I'd be like, oh,
I know what you need, you have to seek. You know what I mean? If you really know you need friendships, you have to seek them too, right? And just with dating, you just have to be really good at spotting red flags. The other thing I think that a lot of women struggle with is being vulnerable and transparent. And you hold all these secrets inside. And what does that do?
Girl, turn into some disease and all the other, yes.
Right. And so one of the things that I've always been intentional about at my retreats, at any space that I create, is that the moment that you release that secret, that pain, that trauma, you free yourself, number one. And you also build up the courage to know that no one can hurt you like you hurt yourself, right? And so the courage you have to say, this is my story. This is who I am. You can't hurt me by that. The only way I hurt myself is I don't heal myself from it. And that's it. And I think when we're in these spaces, if you are in a group of 10 women, I guarantee you, if you say, I'm suffering from fertility or infertility, there's going to be another woman that says, me too. I survived a narcissist partner. There's going to be another woman that says, me too. And what that helps you do is you start to form a connection with that person. Not saying misery loves company, but I found my person that I can talk to about this.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But somebody got to say something. Right?
Girl,
Somebody
be me
got to
sitting in
release
the back
it.
of the room like, I'm an introvert. I don't talk to anybody. I know I do it to myself. Like, I self-sabotage. It's me. Yeah.
I mean, I do too. I'm an ambivert, right? And so
you can turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah, and I got to be really comfortable with people. I got to warm up the engine, right? But one thing I do know is that there is not anything that I've been through that someone else has not. And if I can find healing through that connection, it only is up from there for me. You know what I mean? What benefit do I have to just hold that in? And I keep piling the secrets in.
Girl, because you don't want nobody to judge you. That's what I be telling myself. Back to the mama issues. I'm going to go back to therapy. I'm going to go back and see you, girl. I'm going to go back and see you. Girl, we didn't.
But it ain't judging. It's not them judging you. It's you judging yourself.
You. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. work in progress, y'all.
always.
I'm honest over here, okay? Your girl needs the therapist, the Reiki master, the yoga, the meditation. We need it all. Work in progress every single day, just trying to get better.
Yeah.
But I'm not letting you go without getting a little bit deeper into your business. Because we talked about a friendship, but I want to talk about the relationship, okay?
Girl.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it for just a second. Because we are bombarded. Look, you see how I turn, right? Look, we're bombarded by the relationship conversations. Yeah. I approach the relationship conversations not because it's a hot topic, but because I'm blackity black, black, black.
Yes.
All black everything.
Yes.
Black family is the most important, though,
yes.
right? And if we don't get the black woman and the black man together, the black family does not exist. So I approach the conversation from that standpoint. And there are so many women I know that are watching this that are high-performing, high-achieving women such as yourself. And they want to know, like, how is dating? How is the experience for you? What can they learn from what you've been through? Like, what can you share about the current state of dating for a high-earning, high-achieving Black woman? What's tea, sis?
Because I haven't perfected it. I'm
girl,
still single,
listen,
girl. I'm still single.
We're working on it. Work in progress.
Well, I think there's definitely where you start is how do I want to feel in a relationship? What is the experience that I want to have in a relationship that is way beyond anything physical or financial or anything like that? But how do I want to feel? And what do I want to experience in this relationship? The next thing is awareness of your own triggers and traumas, what you're bringing into a relationship, what you can release, and what you can heal through by love. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be completely healed to be in a relationship. You know what I mean? Love can also heal you as well, right? Having a patient partner, having someone who is a great communicator, right? And again, that goes back to what do you want to experience and how do you want to feel in that relationship? And I also think you should have non-negotiables. You know, you should have what are the red flags that I've ignored in the past, you know, that I'm no longer going to ignore. And I think for me, even in my last relationship, it was one of those things where it's like, I'm going to try this. And I out-earned him. We talked about that, right? And I didn't mind that, right, at first. But it started to become an issue. And so for me, that was the experience that I said I don't want to have. I just don't want to have it anymore. And what's her name? April?
April.
The one that big controversy where she was like, I wouldn't date a bus driver, right? She said that.
Ebony.
Ebony
Williams.
Williams, right? Ebony K. Williams, right?
Come on down to the show, Ebony, because we need to talk.
Listen, I was like, I do not see anything wrong
with what she said.
With what she said. You know, yes, I understand, like, some people may have felt like it was classist and elitist and condescending, but if you just peel back a few layers, what she was saying is, this is what I, personally, Ebony K. Williams, want to experience in my relationship. And at the level that she is, unfortunately, she knows what an opposite experience would be and one that she does not desire. And I agree with her. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with having preferences. Having enough self-awareness to know what's not going to work for you.
What's not going to work for you?
But, you know, we live in cancel culture. Everybody has a problem with everything. They might not even have a problem with what you say. They have a problem with what you didn't say.
Right.
Or, you know, what you said means about the other people that you didn't mention. You can't ever just get it right. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having preferences and being self-aware enough to know what you can take, what you can handle. Because we've had this conversation around, like, dating men with kids.
Yes.
I don't care what you call me. I didn't want to date a man with kids. I'm too selfish. I want to be your first. I want to be the priority. I know that about myself, so I'm not going to put myself in that situation. You can judge me or not, but this is what it is. And I think you have to be intentional about what you want, what you don't want, so that you can recognize it. And you mentioned you're having enough awareness to know what you're bringing into the relationship. So I want to ask you, because you mentioned this on the soft season, You
Ooh.
mentioned this today.
Yeah.
So I want to ask.
Yeah.
Because you said, like, on the soft season, I think you said that you used to like to argue.
Yes.
You like to argue. You talked about, in the meetings, your leadership style was not, they weren't as accepting of the leadership style, receptive to it at first.
Mm-hmm.
Does any of that show up in romantic relationships?
I would say, and I'm trying to remember what I said specifically in the summit. Oh, I know what I said. I was more reactive, right? And what a friend of mine said I used to be like, I would shoot up the room and then ask questions later. And what I have learned through tons of just self-work is to breathe first. Take a moment and do a body scan and be like, okay, first of all, what am I seeing right now? Is it what I think it is? Like, is it reality or is it perception, right? And I learned, like, when I was reactive, I just wasn't assessing the situation in a way that would give a healthier, more, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, basically what I was giving, I was getting back. And then that would escalate into such a bigger situation than what it could have just been like, this is how I feel. Like, I don't like that you did this, right? And so I had to do a lot of self-work in that sense. And I was actually very proud of myself. And I think every relationship teaches you something about yourself. Is my last one, he was like, I love that you just are not reactive. Like, you really will sit there. And I may sit there right with you and be like, okay. Let me come back to you on this. Or I just get quiet because I'm in my body. Like, okay, how am I feeling here? Am I seeing reality or is it what I perceive it to be, right? And so that was one thing I knew that prior to this last one, I didn't want to bring into that one. And I don't want to bring into future relationships.
I don't know what the title of this episode is going to be. Something around like awareness, because I just think that awareness in every area, whether we're talking about wellness, friendships, romantic relationships, even your relationship with yourself, just the awareness of it all, of what you need, of who you are, of where you're going.
Yes.
I think that that's so important. So let's bring some awareness to this man. Look right here in this camera. I like to have my single ladies shoot your shots. But this is the thing. I want you to shoot your shot for the husband that is watching this, so that he knows the type of wife that he's getting. So just a couple of things that he can look forward to from his wife right there in that camera.
Oh my God.
Do it, girl. Let's do it.
You put me on the spot like this.
Yes, the universe is listening. Let's do it.
Okay. I am trying to remember. I haven't done it in a while. This exercise that my mentor gave me. And it was kind of like an exploration of what I wanted to experience in my relationship, right? And it's every sentence started with "what if," And so, okay, so the man, right? Let me speak it to the camera. And so, what if I am your soft place to land? What if you're my soft place to land? What if we explore the world together? What if we are intentional about passion and adventure and trust? What if we live a life of laughter and joy? What if we trust, you and I, love one more time?
How did that feel?
It was like 2 pages.
Did that feel? How did that feel?
So good. Like
it felt good for me too,
yes.
Girl. Invite me to the wedding. Invite me to the wedding.
The assignment to the universe.
Yes, I know
for both of us.
I know.
Oh, that was good.
That was
a
good.
good one.
Yes. Because, girl, we about to stop playing, okay? Yeah. I love that for you. Love is coming.
So good.
Being loved properly, though, not just love, but the love you've been preparing for.
Yes.
I'm feeling it.
I feel it.
I'm
I do
excited.
feel it.
I'm excited for
feel
you,
it.
and we're gonna have you back to talk about it when
Yes,
he
but
shows up.
there's one other point
Okay.
that I want to make for high achieving women.
Okay.
Is that we do have to make dating an Olympic sport. It's a second part-time job, and you have to be self-aware if you're in the space to focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently coming out of a launch season, so
Mm-hmm.
I knew January through April, I just could not focus on dating. And I kind of dipped my toe in it, and I always would get what I was getting back what I was giving, which was I was busy, no time, all that stuff, right? But it's interesting, like as I'm coming out of the soft season, I done dip my toe back in, right? And now what I'm getting is, hey, you want to hang out today? What you doing after work? Let's meet up. And you know what I do? Yep, it is 5:30. It's time to close the laptop because now I want to focus on
Yep.
pleasure.
We don't though. We don't, and especially because I think Black women are finding so much success in entrepreneurship because we're go-getters. We're not afraid of a challenge. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna do whatever we got to do to make it happen. We're so headstrong. We're so determined. And we pour so much, I think, into business because we can control it much better than we can control relationships. So we don't put as much energy and attention. We don't even mention we want a man. Like, we don't even want to admit that this is something we want to happen. And so, as we know, if you don't even admit that you want it, the chances of you getting it, you're probably not going to get it if you can't even admit that this is a goal of yours. And so, to your point, just putting as much energy and attention and brilliance into dating as we do into business. Because we can figure this out just like we can figure that out. And so, for all of my ladies watching this, I truly, truly believe that there is a perfect partner. And when I say perfect, I don't mean without imperfection. I mean perfect for you. I believe that there's a perfect partner out there for you, being prepared to love you properly. You just got to put yourself in position. So positioning might be making time. It might be getting on one of these dating apps. It might be getting out into these streets, okay? It's a hot girl summer. All right? It's a soft girl summer. It's whatever type of summer you need for it to be for you to live the life that you deserve and the life that you desire. I hope this conversation has been therapeutic for y'all. I have enjoyed it.
Thank you. That was so good.
It was good, right?
I'm
we
glad
talked
you
about
didn't prepare
everything,
me.
right?
Yes.
See? It's a method to my madness, okay? Because
Yes.
then you be coming here trying to memorize, remember what you thought about saying. We don't want that. We want
Or
the
just
real.
trying to be too perfect.
Yeah, and we don't want that. We want the imperfection.
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
loved every minute, and I know they did too. For the people who want more, though, look in that camera right there. Let them know your website, how they can connect with you, where they can find you.
Yes. Okay. So you can find me personally at Christina M. Rice on Instagram with a CH, or our Om Noir page, which is OMNoire. Of course, OMNoire.com. We have some amazing retreats that we are announcing soon. We have some now, but we have even more that we're adding to our calendar all the way into 2024. So definitely check it out. If you are seeking connection and sisterhood and community and all things wellness, this is the place.
This is the place. We will make sure that we drop those links below. I appreciate y'all for being here. Make sure you like this video, comment below, and share something that you learned, and share this episode with a friend, okay? Be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. If you happen to be listening to this podcast, leave your girl a 5-star review, okay? So they can put some respect on my name. I appreciate y'all. I love you. I got nothing but love for you. I want nothing but love for you. And I'll see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. And take it a step further and go ahead and join our private community over on Patreon, because it comes with some pretty bomb perks, including early and discounted access to our upcoming events, behind the scene exclusives with some of your favorite guests, the opportunity to call in on an upcoming show, the chance to vote on topics and guests for brand new shows, and I'm even giving you unlimited access to my vault of business classes where I'm teaching you everything from Airbnb to developing digital products and everything in between. And you can get access to our Patreon for as little as $5 a month, okay? Get in where you fit in, and I'll see you on the inside. Peace.